It is Thursday, March 6, 2025. And for documentation purposes, it's 4:21 p.m. on March 6, 2025. However, the current time is not particularly relevant regarding the evidence that I want to provide some additional analysis for. On this day, today, I did capture the entity gang stalking as a matter of documentation within identifying the specific environment, because even as you will see even in the video, the fake sun and the cloudy day, the rainy day. This is speaking to a means of identifying a pattern of conduct as it's exhibited through the specific environment. The specific environment is that which is specific to where I am at. It's an environment that's centered on me. It's focused on me, and that's speaking to what everyone else around me is what their actual focus is as well, meaning they're stalking while they're monitoring in that specific environment. And that is proven also because not only is the behavioral pattern of that population of stalkers identical, which is no coincidence, it is also which is supernatural as well. It is also not a coincidence in that specific environment, which in and of itself, apart from the stalking behaviors of the people of the state, it is a supernatural occurrence, i.e., this is where the fake sun rises and sets at one address. This is where the fake sun remains over me as I remain inside of one apartment building. That is, this apartment itself is less than 600 feet or just at 600 square feet. And just looking out of the front door and the patio glass door, it's as though I'm able to see the sky space in Florida where the sun was present at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. No, that's not the case. And the sun is not maintaining perpetually present over everyone's head everywhere, no matter if you sit still at one building all day long like I've documented, or whether you travel all day long like I've documented, or whether you go from one place to the next, wherever it is. That is not the sun, nor are we all looking at the sun from the exact same angle, regardless of our location, distinct from each other. Meaning someone in Florida 3 hours ahead of us is not looking at the sun from the same angle in the way that I'm capturing it from the ground looking up in the sky. But this is the asininity that I am documenting while the entity is stalking, and very obviously stalking, as I've exposed to you what is the environment where you are able to look at everything that surrounds me in its pure form. These are the demon possessed who are stalking one person together, and the specific environment is the direct evidence of it. All right. It is that which is taken into context regarding what they have demonstrated themselves that they're gang stalking. And they do so in ways such as very maliciously gang stalking somebody where you live, and the entity is not exercising any First Amendment rights in doing so. Gang stalking where you work, and the entity is not exercising any First Amendment rights. You don't have any protections of the Constitution, where the government is acting maliciously and deliberately with a population to keep one person under surveillance, which is also shown not only through their stalking behavior, which I have captured. In other words, the people of the state have proven themselves to be demons. They've proven themselves to be stalking as a population is documented together. And then you look up in the sky and you also have the greater context, the ongoing additional context of the fake sun. You know beyond any reasonable doubt, as it would be stated in a courtroom, but you also know for your own well-being, the fact that the demon-possessed are indeed targeting American citizens, because I just happen to be in America. But this pattern of conduct, which is demonic activity, is happening in other places in the world. It's happening in third world countries. It's happening in South Korea, for example. This is not based on whatever language that you speak. It is based on the presence of Satan. Satan is a spirit, and Satan is not discriminating, contrary to what Satan wants you to do. Satan wants you to be prejudicial. Satan wants you to be racist. Satan wants you to limit people or be influenced by what they look like or what they behave like or where they came from or who they hang out with or how they even define themselves or even outwardly behave. All of these things are means of deceiving people, especially when you are holding the spirit of Satan, and that demon does not want to be identified. That mental illness does not want to be seen. That sexual pervert does not want to be known. That stalker does not want to be identified or prosecuted. That's the demon possessed that are gang stalking in California. All right. So that's what's relevant. And that's why I'm speaking to the current time is relevant for documentation purposes, but it's not directly relevant actually pertaining to what it is that I'm capturing. And today in 2024 is what I'm focused on. So we're going to start right now. I got the documentation, and then I'm going to go into what was happening before the entity in 2024 immediately hid the fake sun. it gets cloudy once I start talking about damning evidence. Once I start reminding people about where the fake sun was when I'm in a different region, and that's what happened in LA on this day. But we can look at just what happened maybe an hour, even so earlier, before the fake sun rapidly disappeared, and what was the LAPD doing, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what we're going to do in this video. It is currently, again, 4:26 p.m. But I want to go to what I captured at 11 o'clock this morning today. This is where Woodside Senior Apartments is already documented engaged with federal group stalking and monitoring. They're gang stalking under the fake sun that's remaining over the top of my head. It's a cloudy day. It's raining outside. But again, the moment that I began, and before I captured this video, I want you to see this. This is what I documented. So I'm inside, minding my business. All of a sudden, this is again, oh, I'm sorry, that's yesterday. This is the entity that is at 11 o'clock in the morning. It's a cloudy day, it's raining, and this is speaking to the demonic environment because this is never the sun at any time of day. But this is relevant to psychological torture and the entity that is obsessively gang stalking, and doing so as the specific environment proves that. And it is based on what it is that I'm doing at the moment that I'm doing it, while the entity is engaging what is gang stalking as the cloudy day, the rainy environment outside. Immediately and rapidly and abruptly changes, and it immediately, the fake sun is immediately shining outside. And so I immediately start taking pictures of it. All right. It's been dark and cloudy, and it's still dark and cloudy now. But I immediately capture images at 11 a.m. of what is the fake sun shining. And where is it shining? No matter how long it's covered up, even if it's covered up all day long until 4 p.m., that fake sun will be in alignment to me at 4 p.m. And where you see it at 4 p.m., there is a whole East Coast, like New York and Florida. And if I'm looking at it outside of the patio glass door, that means it never reached Florida. And that means, what were they looking at in the middle of the day, for example? What was rising over them in the morning in Florida? Because it wasn't this fake sun that was remaining over units 33 through 48, like I document every other day. And that evidence is not unseen and deleted because Satan is covering up a fake sun that Satan is hostile to me exposing. And all the demons who are stalking me are hostile to me speaking about and exposing. And the fact that I'm speaking and referencing demons does not make it impervious to a prosecution for criminal stalking by malicious predators and psychopaths who are doing so in furtherance of trying to get away with another act of murder by the entity. Murder and kidnapping, which is what the state of California practices. That's why you have a population at an apartment complex clearly stalking under a fake sun that is showing at 11 o'clock in the morning. And I immediately capture images of it as quickly as it arrived. You see where I'm at. I'm at the front door of apartment number 51. This is the same sky space where at the end of the day, the fake sun is setting. Okay. That's not the sun, and that's no sun. That's no environment that's sharing the sky space I'm able to see, or any of us can see what's going on in the sky space in Florida. Okay, while it's remaining in alignment to me out this patio glass doors. This is the asininity of the demons that never expected to be shown to be what they are, doing what they're doing in the environment where you are able to know that through the specific environment. And this is the fake sun that's at 11 o'clock in the morning. It's right over the top of my head, and piercing through. Again, this is not weather. This is the demonic. It's based on what I do as I do it. All right. And so while I am looking into what was going on this day in 2024, in operation of my communication device, immediately the fake sun, it's no longer a cloudy day. It's no longer dark and gloomy outside. Immediately it is, the sun is piercing through. So I open up the door and I capture that. Okay. This is the engineered light that's appearing. This is the window that's appearing on the opposite side of the sidewalk. That's not sunlight either, just by the way. But this is what precedes my capturing the video of this is how bright the sunlight is. You see the door. I want you to pay attention to this. This is at 32 seconds, 11 a.m. and 32 seconds. Immediately it is disappearing. It's dimming right back down. Okay. That's again seconds later, or 11 minutes and 38 seconds, 11 minutes and 32 seconds. So you're talking about a 6-second difference. While I'm capturing capturing images, snapping all these images rapidly, that fake sun is being covered back up. And this is not the natural environment, because you know this is where the fake sun rises and sets. And regardless of what is that this concentrated light disappearing, immediately getting dimmer, it's gray outside, but it's still concentrating through the peephole. Okay. This is the environment that you're paying attention to. So you can see that time. This is, again, the engineered light. You could still see it. All you're doing is paying attention to color details. It's never sunlight. And you're paying attention to what is nothing other than an illusion to you. You're thinking that there's no sunlight because you don't see bright yellow light. And it is the exact same engineered light. It's a gray color. It's just a gray color. Okay, you can still see same angle. You can see the shadows. This is engineered light. It is impossible light activity while it's a gray color reaching underneath a covered patio structure. It's impossible light while it's golden yellow reaching underneath a patio structure. Still creating the same light activity. Still stalking with light. Equally impossible also while the fake sun is remaining over Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles. But what I want you to pay attention to is the rapid disappearance of that fake sun that's still here, regardless of whether it's rainy or cloudy. That fake sun is right there over those clouds that are covering up what I have exposed about an unnatural environment. And I have also shown as the evidence that all the demons are stalking. That's why Satan is interested in covering up that fake sun. Okay. But not for long. They're too obsessed with gang stalking me to keep that fake sun covered up for too long. They only get scared. They get triggered when I start talking about what was LAPD doing under the fake sun at the same time on this day. That fake sun will disappear rapidly. Okay. But you know that it's not really disappearing. It still remains in the same position. This is while the demons are sitting around obsessively stalking me, listening to me tell on them. That's what that's about. Okay. This is what's happening at 11 a.m.
Just want to show you what is that is stationary here, and with simultaneity to what I'm doing on my phone, meaning as I research YouTube in March of 2024, as I take screenshots of the fake sun that just 5 days ago was rising at during 7 a.m. 8, 9, 10, 3.5 hours later, it's still over the same apartment building. That's not the natural environment, and that's also, you're also witnessing the demonic in front of you. And then I'm also researching online. This is what the entity, the demon possessed, do with, for example, with helicopter activity, while the demons are stalking at the venue. Those are the ones that are losing custody of their kids. She's crossing path, walking outside of her apartment, monitoring while the fake sun appears and disappears, and while that is engineered light appears and disappears. That's the same demon gang stalking in the parking lot.
I just want to be clear, you just saw pacing. The demon-possessed woman walks outside of her front door and walks back inside. She's pacing. And while you're looking at a demon-possessed person, that's what you're able to know by the fake sun, by the engineered light documentation, by the way that this environment operates, and it's centered on what I do. That's also how you're aware that that's a demon-possessed person, and also a stalker. That's stalking by residents. That's federal prison as a means of punishing that federal offense of terrorism with the government. But that particular family in Unit 41, they're all going to mental asylums over the age of 18. All the adults are going to a mental asylum. But that's what that was, walking in and out. That's pacing.
In the afternoon with 9CZC059, and the fake sun was right here over the apartment at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She knows that she's living under, and she's acting in conformity to the pattern of conduct of stalking with presence and light, also monitoring my device. She's going to prison, license 9CZC059. That's the demon that likes to gang stalk with her minor children while she's monitoring my genitalia. That's the evidence that she's also a sex offender, and she's also a violent predator who continuously engages in sexual violence and stalking in violation of the Violence Against Women Act, while a fake sun is remaining over me. And I'm documenting, and I will be providing a screen recording reminding you about where the fake sun is remaining during the 11 a.m. hour, which is not over. The demons living in Unit 41 are stalking by address, by residence, which is what I was documenting in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens.
All right. This is the entity that is gang stalking under the fake sun that you know is here. Covering it up doesn't change it. It also doesn't move it. It sits here all day long. And just as a reminder, regarding what the entity is doing under the fake sun, we can recall what the entity is doing at the same time at 11 o'clock in the morning, which I've documented before. So this is documented at the same time on, for example, February 25th. I believe we've got February 25th February 25th. So we can look at the fake sun that's doing the exact same thing, where there's no cloudy day to cover up the fake sun based on what it is that I was documenting on this time, at this time of year in 2024, because that's what the demons are all paying attention to. Okay. What was documented on March 5th, 2024 was very damning. Okay. Very damning, but there's no getting out of the evidence because they can show the fake sun tomorrow, March 8th. I can juxtapose it with what happened today, March 7th. Today's the day. Tomorrow will be the 7th. So I could juxtapose that with today, March 6th, with regard to time of year, time of day analysis. I could juxtapose with what at the same time of year, which is what I'm doing here, January 2025. 2025 and 2024, because you're understanding what is identifying the unnatural environment. This is what this is what meteorologists do. This is what people that study the weather do on an ongoing basis. They're always telling you, well, in 1987 on this day there was such point centimeters or inches of rain, and this is breaking a record because we've never had this much rain in this time of year. It's always X, Y, and Z. This is nothing foreign that I'm talking about. And there is nothing natural about this environment. And covering up the fake sun for 1 hour or for 1 day is within the P.O.C, because at any point that the fake sun shows itself, if it does, it will always remain over me. That doesn't change either. Neither does it change the evidence that's already on the record. I want to be clear. Alvarado Gardens keeping the fake sun from rise until set, which is already sitting on the record, is a prosecution of all the demons at Woodside Senior Apartments. But we have even more than that. I have in 2024 and 2025 the fake sun rising and setting. The fact that it's covered up, and literally in this video, it's arriving. It's there and it's immediately covered up, is speaking to malice. Not the natural environment. You already know this isn't the natural environment because it's setting and it's rising and setting here. That means that in this environment, Florida never gets any sun. It never leaves this block. I'm looking at it hours from 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 5 hours from now. It's still here while it's coating the patio glass door while I'm inside the same apartment. That's not occurring from Florida. That's not occurring from Texas. That's not occurring from Minnesota. That's at the same exact address. And you can look at this, what I documented at 11 o'clock in the morning. This is when this video ended. Okay, when there is no rainy day and no cloudy day. And let's remember where the fake sun is. It's at the same exact location.
Currently 10:53 a.m. This is engineered light that's just framing the front door. And this is engineered light that just remains around the ceiling, framing the inside of the apartment. And you can see here, there's engineered light that's illuminating, filling the space. The shadow of the lamp in an upward trajectory.
I want you to see that.
Walking, you can see on this wall right. This is engineered light that's shooting horizontally. My magnified size of my hand upright on the wall, that's in front of me. Yeah, first of all, this is demonic. Well, with regard to this light activity, and this is also how you know that people are outside stalking in the path. They're also engaged in federal stalking using communication devices. You know this by the specific environment. You know that everybody living at this apartment complex is also stalking.
That's very demonic. That's a sex offense. That's a molestation via engineered light. And it is the evidence of surveillance inside of what is not a private space. And nobody is exercising any First Amendment rights by remaining, residing, working, visiting, being present, being documented, period, at this venue. They all know the fake sun and engineered light is here. They're all stalking. You're all going to be prosecuted for it, including the third-party company, AVANATH Capital Management.
And those that are living inside of apartment 41, that's how you know their legal status. They're stalking. And this is a government program, okay? It's stalking in the path right in the kitchen. This is, again, the same sex offenders that walk out when they know that I'm walking out of the front door and you see the fake sun. And
that's exactly what she did today at 11 a.m., walking out of the front door and walking back inside.
Alignment with me. He's also stalking right now with knowledge of what it is that I'm saying and what I'm doing. And this is the reality of the demon possessed who are engaged in this militia. They do the same thing when they're walking on the sidewalk. When the demon the other morning that's going to door number 42, he did so monitoring me. Okay. The entity is gang stalking the ages of 50. Hold on, sorry. Is the entity that is gang stalking on an ongoing basis.
Where they're remaining inside of their units, crossing path where they know that I'm located inside of the apartment. It's just stalking as an apartment complex. I want you to see the light source itself. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward some.
Engineered light. This is not the evidence of sunlight. This is the evidence of what is a fake sun, however, because the engineered light is present coexisting with a distinct method of identifying a crime scene through the people, all right? And that's what this is right here, under what is a fake sun, and the demon's in Unit 41 standing at the front door. He's monitoring while he's inside of a private space. He's going to federal prison. He and his daddy that works for AVANATH Capital Management are going to federal prison. Let's
see. Sorry. Apologies. Let's go back. I'm referring to the stalkers residing in Unit 41, and you saw them again. You saw the female monitoring me today under the fake sun that's in the same position. And that's what I'm talking about. I want you to see the light
sun right here. And that has nothing to do with the engineered light that's shooting horizontally while I'm walking in the living room. And here is engineered light that's again appearing. This has nothing to do with sunlight. This is the identification of a crime scene. And that's how you know what's going on out here. You don't have to be out here to show you, but I show you how you're recognizing the P.O.C, what the demons are doing systematically. AVANATH Capital Management and everybody that AVANATH Capital Management engages in criminal facilitation with by having them on the grounds, engaging in any services on the property, they're doing so in monitoring me. They're doing so under the fake sun, monitoring me. They're doing so in concert with the government, monitoring me. And that's a prosecution of demons who are gang stalking under corrupt company names like RGS. Okay, and any gang stalking immigrants.
All right, so this is the fake sun that is remaining over the same apartment. And this is just letting you know a cloudy day and rain outside does not change that. And as the clouds cover up, what remains is the fake sun. And what is also very demonic is that the clouds, they magically are removed from keeping the sun from shining based on whatever it is that I might do at the moment that I do it. And as I documented in this video capture today, at the moment that I began referring to documentation on this day in 2024, that's when the fake sun that it is no longer covered by clouds. And the moment that I start capturing pictures of it, it immediately goes back into hiding. And this is the reality with regard to the personality of this demonic environment. It's not the natural environment. This is not a natural environment. And none of these people are normal. These are demon-possessed people who are stalking by residents. Okay? They're doing so with a third-party RGS. And in this video that I documented earlier today, I want to be clear because you've got RGS that's engaging in impunity as I documented on video. So I want to speak to that. Gang stalking me with the entity and doing so on video. This is what I documented here. Yeah, I documented a third party. It's fine. Here we go.
Amplification, malice, and impunity. Simultaneity of presence. RGS employees are going to prison.
Hold on 1 second.
Malice and impunity. Malice and impunity. And the Ontario International Airport, malice and impunity. All right, they're all going to prison for that. It is currently, again, 11:21 a.m. Amplification, malice, and impunity. Simultaneity of presence. RGS employees are going to prison. Yeah,
RGS is gang stalking, and the amplified sound of traffic is coexisting with what is his coming into line of vision stalking in the path. A psychopath that is gang stalking you and not looking and dressing it. This is a demon possessed person that is clearly stalking. The fake sun establishes you're stalking. You're focused on me. You know who I am. You even know what I'm saying. You can see their mental illness when they want to appear as though they're focused on something else. RGS is simultaneously profiting from landscaping services while they are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. And the mental illness, that is the malice exhibited by the entity that is gang stalking as a population in concert with the government, is speaking to, again, federal prison. And I want to remind you about, you've seen this third party before. This is RGS that is indeed engaged in gang stalking as I have shown it. So let me go ahead. All right, this is the identity of those who are gang stalking. This is RGS down here. I'm documenting them. I'm documenting the circumstances of their presence in the environment while they are outside in relevant position, just like they are today. Gang stalking, and this is what these sex offenders look like up close. Gang stalking as a corrupt company, all in operation of their communication devices on this day, by the way. But you don't have to be. You can be in the path doing nothing while noise and light is being maintained by you and by your co-defendants that are gang stalking me. This is what RGS is doing as a corrupt landscaping company, a third party that is targeting with the population, the amplification of traffic while that demon is stalking in the path this morning under a fake sun. That is, even as you can see it, this is documentation of the fake sun at 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:08. I'm capturing video at 11 o'clock. That's 2 hours. It's over the same apartment building. That's non-movement. That's not the sun. The sun is not literally going to be over the same building an hour later. The sun is constantly moving. It's in constant movement. Even this 2-hour comparison of what I captured February 14th and today, March 6th, is speaking to the P.O.C. But we have even more than that. RGS is clearly gang stalking. But I just want you to see a close-up image of these demons that are gang stalking RGS, doing so with the entity, and did so on video. They're license 7N98091. Those are the sex offenders that are indeed engaged in gang stalking. Here's the fake son. This is the same building where RGS was gang stalking me, standing at the corner. The fake son is over me at 11 o'clock in the morning. The same fake son that you could see up here at the top that I capture on at 9 o'clock in the morning. And we've got it here over the same building at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This is where RGS is acting with impunity, gang stalking me on video in concert with the population that is aiding in amplified noise and a psychopath. Their mental illness is not a secret, nor do they look like somebody that's minding their business, just engaging in landscaping. You are able to see the malice of these demons that are targeting me together. All right. And these are sex offenders that are targeting a woman, stalking a woman inside of an apartment where no male that has not been welcomed in that apartment should be engaging in surveillance and monitoring and stalking that woman in ways that are intended to psychologically harm that woman. That's what RGS is doing, and every employee of RGS at AVANATH Capital Management. And those, they're doing so with regard to what is a federal prison. And that's exactly what I'm speaking to while I'm documenting. That's amplified traffic, and then he's simultaneously arriving in the path. That's the P.O.C. of gang stalking. That's gang stalking 101. Okay. This is what the entity is doing while I'm literally capturing video. And I want you to also see, before I move on to what was happening on this day in 2024, Ontario International Airport is indeed gang stalking on video, speaking to the impunity of the government that is wasting thousands of dollars on criminal activity, using an airport to engage in what is criminal monitoring, stalking with amplified audible activities, stalking in the path, and also in very unintelligent methods such as flying over Woodside Senior Apartments. There is no Terminal 2 or Terminal 4. And the entity is doing this with regard to a body of evidence, speaking to the Ontario International Airport, gang stalking me everywhere I am at in Ontario, California, and doing so while maintaining hovering surveillance. Speaking to the Ontario International Airport is not consumed with charging for flights to destinations. They're consumed with domestic terrorism. They happen to also make money for having flights take off from Ontario International Airport Terminals 2 and Terminal 4 to whatever destination. But they're focused on engagement in federal group stalking and monitoring. They're engaged in domestic terrorism in the city of Ontario, and they are going to be shut down for that. This is what I'm documenting here. I just wanted to slow down so you can
in your apartments, and they're practicing federal group stalking and monitoring, while demons are contracting people like RGS and that company that's flying higher than the fake sun. Okay, that's a demon that engages in conduct of murdering American citizens, by the way. Delta Airlines, Southwest Airlines, American Airlines, United Airlines. They have the new airline Starlux. They're not new, but they're engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring associated with the Ontario Police, the Ontario Police, but the Ontario International Airport, that has no place of takeoff right here. And you also know that that's speaking to the spectacular means of surveillance and the thousands.
And they are flying higher indeed than the fake sun that's remaining over me right here. They're flying at a higher elevation than the fake sun that's remaining over me. That's identifying an airport that's engaged in stalking. A pilot is demon possessed and has people's lives in their hands, by the way. While they engage in acts of terrorism in this country, they're not accidents. These are the demon possessed that engage in terrorism, that engage in what is murdering people, while they are in positions that they serve a national security threat, while the demon possessed are engaged in federal group stalking, monitoring, as I've termed it. But you have all manner of the demon possessed that are licensed pilots that work for very well-known airlines, and they're engaged in this system of terrorizing American citizens like the Ontario International Airport. That is a threat to national security. It's going to be shut down. They're a threat to the national security. So nonetheless, I just wanted to document that. I'm capturing this at 11:13 a.m. Speaking to the stationary presence of the fake sun. This is what happened at 11 o'clock in the morning, and it immediately disappears again. Okay, it disappears as I start capturing pictures of it. It disappears, and it resurfaces as I capture at 11:13, and I go ahead and I take video of it. I want to recall together what I documented on this day in 2024, where the entity is keeping the fake sun over me in Los Angeles. And this is what's underway. And hold on one second. I'm subject to the pattern of conduct under the same circumstances.
All right, here is LAPD. Amplifying helicopter activity as I walk to my apartment. This is stalking in the path. They're crossing path in the sky space. The people of the state are amplifying audible activity as well. And this is maintaining the specific environment as I move from place to place.
This is what the Ontario International Airport's role is: stalking in the sky space, maintaining amplified noise. That's what brought my attention to it, by the way. At that distance, I should not naturally be able to hear it. I'm a normal person. All I'm doing is documenting what it is that I am experiencing, what I'm witnessing, what I'm observing, what I am perceiving. The amplification is a means of targeting, and that's why I was able to capture so much documentation of helicopters and planes being so far away, but yet it's so loud wherever it is that I'm remaining, in my office or in my apartment or in this third party's apartment. It's a means of audible activity. And it's also demonic. It's as demonic as the fake sun. And the entity has the fake sun covered up in this video, but you're looking at the same system of federal group stalking monitoring, just like the Ontario International Airport is doing. And you also know that the fake sun is remaining over me, whether it's covered up or whether it's shining in all its brilliance like I captured today. And this is what the Los Angeles Police Department is doing: crossing path in the sky space, and amplified audible activity is speaking to the coexisting elements, while the entity is always obsessively stalking with light, and doing so in concert with the people. And this is at my front door, where the entity keeps a fake sun, and I'll show you that evidence as well.
And they're doing it in concert with the people of the state. This is evidence that's going across, that's going toward the people of the state that are in relevant position. And they have minor children that are group stalking. They're engaging in the elements while they're living at a crime scene, threatening the life of an American citizen, which is being documented for their federal prosecution. They're also engaged in what is a mass sex offense committed by the government that's placing you under surveillance and engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring. They're also posing an impermissible threat while they do so, and the continuance of the activity, this is ongoing monitoring, even as I speak. It's serving for criminal monitoring. That unlawful threat and that ongoing criminal surveillance is going for their federal prosecution, and it's legally analyzed as impunity and malice. All of this is relevant to the policies surrounding group stalking in California, well, in the nation, because it's going to be federal law, and also the policies surrounding why they and how long they go to federal prison, the ongoing facts and circumstances, and I've gone to the extent of documenting them. Every time the entity's stalking by helicopter, that's the people that's threatening in concert, because they're one entity, all right? This is impunity and malice. This is stalking as I go from the office back to my apartment. Maintaining the specific environment with amplified audible activity. Smart janitorial is right over here in relevant position monitoring.
Smart janitorial is RGS at Woodside Senior Apartments. Stalking in the path in concert with the entity, Ontario International Airport. Okay, it's the same pattern of conduct under what is a covered up fake sun that you see hovering over my head at Woodside Senior Apartments. That's exactly where it's at on this day in 2024, and it's covered up through the clouds. And I will show you where the fake sun is moments before I captured this video.
Posing a threat. They're already going to federal prison. They're here systematically engaging in that ongoing criminal facilitation. But again, this is just on Alvarado Gardens. They're all in relevant position. And that's just this side. It's the opposite side. This is in Los Angeles, the Glendale area. Everyone on Glendale Boulevard, for example, everyone across the street on the opposite side of Glendale Boulevard, this is massive monitoring. And the people of the state are going to be prosecuted with this evidence. It's going to be used against every single last one of them. The plethora of evidence that already exists, including that which was documented in the Inland Empire, because it's one entity. This pattern of conduct continued as I moved to Los Angeles. It's the same entity engaging in the same criminal system, adding for its own demise. This is P.O.C, and that is 10:54 a.m. stalking from place to place, maintaining the specific environment as I go from place to place.
All right, so this is what I documented on this day in 2024, March 6th, and it got cloudy. And it got cloudy as I captured very damning videos. So we're going to go into what was happening on the same day, a few minutes earlier. We've got like an hour earlier. The Los Angeles Police Department engaged in heavy gang stalking via helicopter. And this is one of the instances where I'm capturing video of it.
It's 9:47 a.m. Under the light source, that's LAPD, that's group stalking and monitoring with the people of the state. It's P.O.C. The ongoing obsessive endeavor to engage in stalking while they are also monitoring the documentation that's going to the prosecution of the entity and the people of the state that are the vicarious arm of the same entity. It's the prosecution of the people of the state, and inevitably so. And I want to remind you about what the Ontario Police Department remained under at 9:40 in the morning while I'm at 408 West G Street in Ontario, California. That is the impossibility, speaking to the pattern of conduct that was underway in Ontario. First of all, the documentation has already established that at no time of the day is the sun even at any other location, let alone any other state, including Ontario, California, anywhere over Woodside Senior Apartments, as the entity keeps its light source right here, from here to right there, aiming light at the same exact environment for an excess of 6:30 a.m. till after 5 p.m. This is the environment where the state is engaged in the ongoing accumulation of evidence against the people of the state that are operating the state system. The entity that's engaging in criminal monitoring is doing it in that specific environment, maintaining that environment because the people of the state are the vicarious arms surrounding the targeted individual. And while the entity continuously engages in that criminal conspiracy in concert with the people that are in that environment, facilitating that criminal system, the people of the state are going to be subject to what are prolonged times in federal prison. All right, they are inevitably engaged in that ongoing threat to your life, to your physical safety, your overall well-being, while that entity that is monitoring via and in concert with the people continuously engages in the provision of a wealth of evidence speaking to the existence of a system and the intent to also continue to threaten your life and pose an impermissible threat while they are monitoring the ongoing documentation. The existence of the system is already established. This is documentation serving to substantiate the very severe federal policy that's going to serve to surround federal group stalking and monitoring, and the ways in which the third-party group stalkers that are engaged in what is a perpetual sex offense, all right, a sex offense that is perpetrated by an entity, which anybody over the age or under the age of 18 documented engaged in the pattern of conduct, they're being documented engaged as a sex offender, and one that is engaged in what is terrorism with this entity that is, again, stalking by helicopter and doing so for the purposes of monitoring in concert with the people of the state. That's ample.
All right, so I want to be clear. I'm referencing in this video while the Los Angeles Police Department is gang stalking by helicopter. At my office, I just want to point something else out to you. I am remaining at what is the specific location. I am remaining at Woodside Senior, this is Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles. And my apartment is right here, building 1806. That's where I captured video at 10:51, where LAPD is following me by crossing path and with amplified helicopter activity. Where I am capturing helicopter activity, again, before that, I'm at the office, the management office. This is my office right here. And the entity has the fake sun right over me right here at the office. This is where I'm facing. This is the hillside, where you see this lock and key area. Facing this direction is the hillside. And I touched the screen so you can see what I'm pointing at. This is the hillside area. This is the way I'm facing my camera. As I walk to my apartment, this is 9:47 a.m. helicopter activity. As I walk to my apartment, building 1806, this is again with simultaneity. The entity is stalking again with helicopter crossing path, while the entity has the same fake sun over me, but it is covered up as I run through all of these facts, reminding you about what was happening on the same day in 2022 regarding the corrupt department, the Ontario Police Department, who are gang stalking me by helicopter, just like the Los Angeles Police Department did so after I already have a body of evidence against the city of Ontario, against the Ontario Police Department, against the state of California. But again, the entity that's monitoring evidence engages in what, like you see today, covering up the fake sun. There is a body of evidence about what the LAPD were doing on this day in 2024, yesterday, March 5th, 2024. This is what the entity does not want discussed. It is not removing it from the existence of the evidence at all. This is speaking to consciousness of guilt. It's speaking to criminal monitoring of evidence. It's speaking to malice and impunity. It's not removing it from the record. This is not the natural environment. And in the same way, on this day in 2024, as the fake sun is shining in all its brilliance over me, the fake sun is still over me while I am at this property, and I am capturing this fake sun that's covered up in this video down here at what is 10:51 p.m., about an hour later. But you are aware already, because I've already documented LAPD gang stalking, just like the City of Ontario, Woodside Senior Apartments, and the Ontario Police Department are doing.
And they're doing it in common activity, which is criminal facilitation.
Which is what the Ontario International Airport were doing on this video. And I will remind you about the video evidence about where this fake sun is. I'm at my front door right here, where LAPD is gang stalking me as I walk from my office, which is where I'm at the top. And the fake sun is right here over me while I am subject to that.
That's group stalking and monitoring with the people of the state. It's P.O.C. obsessive endeavor to engage in stalking while they are also monitoring the documentation that's going to the prosecution of the entity and the people of the state that are the vicarious.
That's where the fake sun is remaining over me, and the entity is doing so while covering up that light source. And the more, this is not a natural environment. This is not just, oh, it just happens to be windy and the clouds are just moving over the sun. This is a real-time effort to cover up the fake sun as I capture footage of it. But nonetheless, the fake sun remains over me as I then, this is at 9:47 a.m. on the same day. This is at 10:51 in the morning on the same day as I go from, again, from my office where they're stalking me in helicopter, crossing path in doing so. That's, again, the significance of walking by the apartment at Woodside Senior Apartments under the fake sun. They're stalking in plain sight. It's called conspicuous stalking. This is what the entity is doing while they're flying over. They're flying over me as I walk to my office. They're flying over me, flying by me, flying around me while I'm walking to my apartment. The entity is keeping me under surveillance while I'm living and working at Alvarado Gardens in LA on this same day in 2024. And as I'm referencing what is happening on this day in 2022 regarding the Ontario Police Department, I want you to see them. But first, I want to remind you, this is where I'm at my front door, and the fake sun is covered up through these skies. The fake sun is already documented remaining over me at the same exact front door where I remain as I captured what is March 8th. You could see the next day. And this is how you can get the specific environment because I have it even before March 8th, but just giving you an example, this is not the natural environment and it remains the fake sun. It remains a part of the record. So we can do the same time the next day. And this is what the Los Angeles Police Department is doing. They're gang stalking. And while I'm capturing evidence of that specific environment, the demonic is underway and covering up that fake sun is what you're witnessing. And that's exactly what's happening at Woodside Senior Apartments, where you already know that the fake sun is rising and setting here over one apartment building where I remain. And that's the case here, as I documented again, which is 48 hours later at the same time at my front door where LAPD is gang stalking me at what is
all right, here is LAPD
10:51 a.m. Under the fake sun while it's covered up. They're gang stalking me while the fake sun is shining at the same apartment. Impossible light activity appearing inside of my apartment. This is 11:17, this is approximately same time of year, same time of day. Analysis is relevant.
Of engineered light. This is my hat that I have on right here. All right, this is my hand, and this is my hand over here as well. Okay, this is engineered light that fills my apartment. The reason why this is present is because I am subject to ceaseless group stalking and monitoring. Who is monitoring? Who is group stalking? Everybody that's around, okay? And that same police department that's group stalking and monitoring via helicopter and failing at providing any sort of legal argument or defense or protection for the people while they use helicopters engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring. And I'm referencing the corrupt law enforcement agency, the Los Angeles Police Department, who are engaging in what is the pattern of conduct, not only of federal group stalking and monitoring, but of what is obstruction of justice.
So I need you to understand, this is the environment where the police are engaging in gang stalking. As I talk about a fake sun, it's a demonic environment. It's not even natural. And that fake sun is covered up under clouds while the demons continuously gang stalk in helicopter, okay? And they're still stalking in the path with light. That's what traffic, that the people of the state are accomplishing that with traffic. They're in the parking lot. They're on the property while LAPD is flying over by helicopter gang stalking me. It's an ongoing joint criminal effort. The people of the state are surrounding, using their vehicles. They're maintaining a path of light around me, and those elements remain while the fake sun was what they're focusing on, because that's the evidence that I'm speaking to, your ability to identify them. But I want you to be clear, this is the environment that surrounds while LAPD is indeed gang stalking by helicopter. This is the same environment, which defies nature, by the way, that I'm capturing in Ontario, California. Light on your ceiling inside of your apartment is supernatural. And it's also supernatural while I'm showing you what is outside, which is not the explanation for light appearing above my head, my shadow appearing above my head. Okay. This is where you are understanding the significance of stalking with light.
Who is monitoring? Who is group stalking?
I am under a covered structure here. You don't see light until you see the edge of the building right here. But you have what is my shadow appearing above my head on the inside of a building, and also where there is shade directly outside. This is speaking to where the entity is stalking with light. The LAPD is indeed gang stalking, and they are doing so while they know that I'm capturing what you need to understand. They don't want you to know about that. It's a whole fake sun. There's a whole environment that surrounds where criminal surveillance is underway, and a system that is organized for purposes of murdering and kidnapping someone and psychologically harming them. And it is all occurring under a fake sun. Okay, that's what's relevant with regard to the fake sun being present but being covered up, as I documented at 10:51 a.m. at the same exact front door, March 6, 2024. This is the same front door where I live, March 8, 2024, and this is the fake sun over my front door.
Okay.
Okay, so I want you to see that. This is my shadow inside of my apartment. Inexplicable light.
Underneath the surface, this is impossible light. This is the pattern of touching the surface, but you have a light source that's right above my apartment. I want to be clear.
The top of my apartment. Okay, that which is not going to coexist with the sun being over the top of my head at 11 o'clock in the morning at Woodside Senior Apartments on March 6th, 2025, a year later. Or what is, again, while it's also remaining stationary at Woodside Senior Apartments until the end of the day, at what point in the natural environment is the sun going to be over my head like I'm capturing in Los Angeles? Okay. This is the entity that is indeed stalking via helicopter in the specific environment with knowledge of the fact that I'm capturing the crime scene, trying to cover up with clouds. The evidence of that crime scene does not remove the fact that you have already seen it. It's already been captured as a matter of record. When you have documented the kidnapper, the murderer on video, because the next day they put on a costume looking like a clown and putting on orange lipstick, as though the evidence of capturing them on video, murdering and kidnapping someone is forgotten and deleted from the record. You will never unsee that. It doesn't remove it from this is the mindset of the entity that's gang stalking, however. You are looking past this malice by the demons that are stalking conspicuously by residents and by employment. Okay, that's what's relevant. And what I'm documenting on this day at my apartment, at my front door,
maintaining the light source,
is speaking to what the LAPD are doing under the fake sun that is covered up moments later at 9:47 while I'm downstairs at my office. The fake sun is shining and it's still there, as my evidence shows. March 8, 2024, and the fake sun is over the top of my head at the same apartment building, my same apartment. Okay, that's speaking to malice by the entity that is monitoring evidence,
which is directly above me while I still am sitting at Ramona and Hope Boulevard. This is in all manner revealing what is a state system. It's a pattern of conduct. Metro Nissan of Montclair's group stalking. They're engaged in obstruction of justice, calling right now while the entity is monitoring my documentation. But I want to be clear, you're looking at what is the ongoing P.O.C. while the light source is over my apartment, and you're looking at what is impossible light activity inside of my apartment. This is in conformity to the pattern of conduct, and it is...
All right, so this is what I wanted to show as relevant context regarding what is no deterrence. This is no deviation from the pattern of conduct while the LAPD is gang stalking me by helicopter. That's the hallmark in the specific environment, and where I am showing you what the specific environment is, and the demon possessed are gang stalking in that same manner, stalking with light, using chiefly their vehicles, using their buildings, using their inside of their apartments around me, by the way, while this helicopter is flying by me. They're in their homes and their houses. They do things like turn their lights on and off. They do things like using their vehicles. They're driving in the parking lot at Alvarado Gardens in the parking lot. They're driving up and down Alvarado Street. They're driving on all the streets along this hillside. They're stalking with light together while the fake sun is covered up. They are always engaging in the elements of monitoring. I'm pointing out the malice under what is an entirely circus environment, because you know the sun is not rising and setting at one address, but I have that evidence regarding Woodside Senior Apartments. And I have that evidence regarding Alvarado Gardens, where Ontario police are doing the same thing that LAPD were doing, gang stalking by helicopter. The most spectacular means intended to psychologically torture, threaten, terrorize, intimidate, and in furtherance of murdering that American citizen that they're gang stalking in concert with a population. Okay, that's what LAPD were engaged in. And in this video where I am capturing them, and I'm in reference to what is happening on the same day in 2022 regarding the Ontario police, I'm going to show you that evidence.
It's 9:47 a.m. under the light source. That's LAPD. That's
sorry.
Group stalking and monitoring with the people of the state. Obsessive endeavor to engage in stalking while they are also monitoring the documentation that's going to the prosecution of the entity and the people of the state that are the vicarious arm of the same entity. It's the prosecution of the people of the state, and inevitably so. And I want to remind you about what the Ontario Police Department remained under at 9:40 in the morning while I'm at 408 West G Street in Ontario, California. That is the impossibility. Speaking to the pattern of conduct that was underway in Ontario, first of all, the documentation has already established that at no time of the day...
All right, so that's what I'm referencing regarding regarding March 6, 2022. At the same time, I have a body of evidence speaking to the pattern of conduct regarding the P.O.C. So this is the website. So I'm going to go ahead and just, because anyone can access this evidence readily. On March 22nd, March 6, 2022, this is what you would look at so that any person that is curious about what it is that I'm describing, even at the same time, we'll go ahead and go through. March 6th at 9:40 a.m., I believe, is the time I'm referencing. And I want to be clear, there's what the entity is doing on March 6, 2022. This would be relevant to what I'm going to juxtapose it with. What the entity is doing with the fake sun in 2025 at or around the same time. Okay. That's what we are looking at here with regard to documentation of the P.O.C. while I remain in what is Ontario, California. This is the Ontario Town Square at the top. All right, Ontario Town Square is not over the apartment buildings at Woodside Senior Apartments. This is what the entity is doing by stalking. And this is what I'm referencing on this day in 2024, while LAPD is gang stalking me in concert with the people that stayed at Alvarado Gardens under a fake sun. And on the same day in 2022, the fake sun was remaining over me at the Ontario Town Square. And it's over the top of my head at 5 a.m.
This is the maintenance of relevant positioning by the Ontario Police who are group stalking where the fake sun is remaining over me.
This is what I'm pointing to. This is what I'm speaking to regarding the pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring. This is over my head. 2002, March 6, 2022. March 6, 2023, March 6, 2024, March 8, 2020. This is time of year and time of day analysis regarding how anyone, including those who specialize in studying the weather and the trends on an annual basis and what has happened historically, and as I'm pointing out what the entity is doing under what is under no circumstances the natural environment, nor could it possibly be the natural environment, not just the hovering nature of this light source, but the fact that it's maintaining this zenith over me in two different regions at the same time, even down to the same day and same time as I'm in Los Angeles in 2024 on March 6th, and I remain in Ontario on March 6, 2022 at 9:40 at the Ontario Town Square, not even at what is Woodside Senior Apartments at the same time. I want to be clear. This is documented at 9:49. This is at around the same time. The entity is keeping the fake sun, as you already know, over Woodside Senior Apartments because that's where I'm at. Okay. So just speaking to, again, the entity that is stalking with light. This is inside of the depths of an apartment. That's not going to be the product of the sun being over the Ontario Town Square, but this is the entity that's gang stalking by the Ontario Police.
5 a.m. I've documented coming from the not only 630 North Fern, where the fake sun is starting over me at that specific street over the vehicle at that time of day, but also as of late coming from the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. I want to be clear, that in and of itself being over the Ontario Museum, which is on the opposite side of the same block, is an impossibility with regard to what is the maintenance of a light source that remains over me. It's 9:35 a.m. As I have shown, as I am traveling to the city of Upland where I remain and where I've already documented I am there, and at the same time, which is not the case. You have what is, as I remain in Upland, for example, as I documented, I'm on the intersection of Arrow and Euclid Avenue, Arrow Highway and Euclid Avenue, and I'm showing you what are the demon-possessed who are crossing paths just like they are all around here, and I'm showing you what is the light source that's directly over my head, like it is here as I remain at one location today. It's the Ontario Town Square, and the light source, as it is in Upland at the same time, remains over me, and you're looking at what are demons who are crossing path while I'm standing outside of the Upland Library and the Upland City Hall, across from the address, which is 500 Euclid Avenue, and the Sam's Market, and you're looking at what is directed light moving all across the walls while that light source is central over my head while I'm at that intersection. And I'm documenting also for a prolonged period. This is the light source that's remaining stationary, in no way moving at the same time present, remaining stationary, in other words, over the Ontario Town Square or any other address, and also, not any other address with regard to where I'm showing you, where I'm at, and it's centrally over.
Meaning it's also not over my head while I'm in the office at Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles on the same day, the same time in 2024, as you are looking at what is a big picture perspective, taking an analytical framework regarding at a macro level, in other words, what is the unnatural environment where you are able to readily identify stalking in a demonic method, identifying it on its face, where the government is targeting American citizens like myself and keeping American citizens under surveillance, and it is satanic. Okay, the Ontario police are gang stalking under this fake sun at the Ontario Town Square. That is not over at the same time. Woodside Senior Apartments units 33 through 48. This is the specific building. This is where, again, the engineer light is piercing into the apartment. This is not sunlight, first of all, and it's also where sunlight is not going to be the result of that, which is over Ontario Town Square. It's also not going to be the result of while it's over my head in the same manner in an entirely different region in Los Angeles, California. All right, but I want to be clear. This is what I'm referencing on this day in 2024, the gang stalking by the Ontario Police Department.
And also at the same time seen over that precise location, which is, again, not only 9:27 a.m., you have the Upland Public Library, 9:35 a.m., I'm there, and at the intersection, the light source is remaining right here over the Ontario Town Square, the same location. This is molestation with engineered light, and the light source, again, not only is that an ongoing comparison of it being in a distinctly different location over my head in the same manner. This is where the entity is keeping the fake sun. If you recall, on February 27th, these are stalkers monitoring. And right over here on B Street and Euclid, right by the Gabby's Furniture Dreams, the light source is right over my head, remaining over the edge of that building.
That's how you're able to identify stalkers. Through the maintenance of a specific environment. It's over me for the purposes of maintaining activity all around, where they don't have to talk to you, converse with you. They don't have to personally know you. But I want to be clear, the demon-possessed know exactly who you are, and their knowledge is shown through this specific environment that defies nature. While I'm showing you this same specific environment, not the same natural environment, because the same natural environment would mean there's no sun over me at Alvarado Gardens, while it would at this time of year be around Ontario Town Square. Over the top of my head, which is distinct from what is being over Woodside Senior Apartments, a specific building at Woodside Senior Apartments, where it never moves itself. Either it stays all day long. That's how you know it's not even similar being over Ontario Town Square and being over Woodside Senior Apartments. As you compare stalking with the fake sun while I remain in California, in Ontario, California, and stalking under a fake sun while I remain in San Bernardino County in Ontario, California, and Los Angeles County in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens. It is showing, like I stated before years ago, the P.O.C., a federal group stalking monitoring, where a population is indeed stalking and they are a demon-possessed one, maliciously and intentionally and knowingly surrounding for purposes of maintaining activity while they're monitoring, that is stalking together as a population. And the Ontario police are doing so at the Ontario Town Square.
I took a picture of that at 1:02 p.m. Remember that. That is speaking to what is not the sun. And then I am sitting at the bench over here and be over here. Based while they're engaging in demonic to what is sun. It is currently 9:38 a.m. And this is where the Ontario police, again, this is relevant to what is monitoring. Let me be clear, demons bringing children in front of your face while they're engaging in demonic conduct. This is Hernandez, a demon, monitoring, including children in the pattern of conduct. Let me point out something. You ship them out of the country. This is no form whatsoever. You have children that are used as activity creators. You have what is the same exact criminal conduct that's underway. And so let me show you what is relevant positioning. They're present in...
Okay, first of all, a couple of things. With regard to any gang stalking immigrants, that's what I'm referencing while I'm running through a bunch of analysis in a short amount of time. I also want to point out the Ontario Police Department are gang stalking bearing weapons. Anybody, including police officers who are gang stalking bearing weapons, that's a threat to your life. The entity is always engaging in what is controlling the narrative when they're murdering people. They're always engaging in what is manufacturing information and charges or even defaming the character of the target individual whom they are murdering while they are stalking. And they are stalking under the fake sun while doing so hiding behind children, hiding behind the people of the state who present their children. They're hiding behind a stand talking about crime prevention while they're engaged in criminal activity. This is why the entity is going to federal prison for gang stalking as a bunch of demon-possessed police officers. And this is what LAPD is telling on everyone else while they do, in the same way that the Ontario Police Department is telling on everyone else regarding what they're doing. They're doing it in the remarkable environment that defies nature. That's speaking to knowledge, malice, and intent. You're not ignorantly in this environment. I'm speaking to the truth about what a population is doing, targeting American citizens, and whose lives are being taken, whose reputations are being shattered while they are losing their liberty. They're being kidnapped in prisons and mental wards and in facilities where they are being kept as some sort of criminal or somebody suffering from some mental incapacity, some mental illness that they do not suffer from. They've been targeted by the state. And it is shown through the unnatural environment. You are under surveillance while I'm showing you the evidence of what can never be the case simultaneously. The sun that's over me while I'm facing LAPD flying over by helicopter, and the fake sun is at the same time remaining over me at 9:47 a.m. on March 6, 2024. And I am standing adjacent between my leasing office and building 1810 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, California, 90026 at the same time. Okay. This is an entity that is also monitoring evidence as I then walk to my apartment at approximately 10:51 a.m. And I could remind you about what the LAPD is doing, and typically under a fake sun. That's why I showed you what's over my head at the same front door on March 8, 2024 at around the same time at 11:17 in the morning, where I'm reminding you about what's over my front door in Ontario, California today. On March 6, 2025, 11:13 a.m., the fake sun. And I'm referencing in my documentation in 2024 under that fake sun what was over my head in the presence of the demons who are the Ontario Police Department at the Ontario Town Square. In concert, gang stalking, relying on the imagery of what is being seen with children. Gang stalking with them.
Engineered light, and they are under the fake sun. There's nothing sweet or endearing about this. You were talking about what is the pattern of crime prevention. Well, Jay Hernandez, badge number 80363, is engaging in
He's going to prison.
federal stalking with the minions of the Ovid Family Community Library, where they have directed light inside of their bathroom. They're sex offenders. What's that, Cynthia? Yeah, she's monitoring under the fake sun, which is not in Upland, California, over the intersection of Arrow.
And it's also not over Alvarado Gardens on this same day in 2024. But that's what I captured. That's not happening in the natural environment, that is. That's happening in an environment that's deliberately maintained and demonically occurring while a population is engaged in what is criminal surveillance, while they practice witchcraft, while they practice maliciously targeting someone through invisible means, such as demonic activity. Okay. It is serving to psychologically torture and to target an American citizen in order to kidnap them and murder them. They also take American citizens' lives in doing so through the system. So this is what's happening. This is what I'm referencing when I am speaking to the pattern of conduct and I am inside of my apartment, when I am capturing the specific environment. I wanted to point that out because this is while I am on this day going from downstairs at 9:47, the fake sun is shining. I go upstairs 10:51, the fake sun is covered up. As I tend to reference the entity that's gang stalking, the fake sun will rapidly, be covered up all of a sudden. The fake sun is covered up and it starts shining all of a sudden. As I start documenting it, it'll be covered up all of a sudden. And that's just within a pattern of conduct, speaking to knowledge. Even when the fake sun remains there shining brilliantly, that's not contradicting the evidence that they're stalking in the fake sun. It's more corroborating evidence that this is never becoming the natural environment. Even while Satan boldly sits there with the fake sun over me, that lets you know about everybody that surrounds me. They're all demons, and they're also stalking. Okay, so this is relevant to, again, what additional evidence that I'm speaking of on this day in 2024. And the entity that is gang stalking me is doing so under that fake sun that remains over me as I captured on video at 10:51 a.m. And I'm referencing the entity that's keeping that light source at the same time and reminding you about what is the conditions of where I'm at today at 11 a.m. And that's how you're able to see it on this day over my head. And even while it's covered up. So at the same time, I want to be clear, 11 a.m. while the fake sun is remaining over my head at the same Ontario Town Square, there is no sun that would be for this, for example, like I'm capturing on March 8th, while the entity is maintaining this specific environment, as I am capturing it on, as I am capturing it on March 8th at my front door, and the entity is maintaining that light source. I just want you to look at it at the same time while I am going through it so that you can see what is remaining over me at the Ontario Town Square and what is remaining over on, and this is again the Ontario Town Square where the Ontario Police Department are gang stalking under a fake sun. This is the malice whereby a law enforcement agency is engaged in what is federal group stalking and monitoring. This is the same law enforcement agency that is masquerading as a police department, in other words, while they're engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. And police are gang stalking in the United States because they are acting in furtherance of committing murder, malicious murder, and kidnapping. where they are exercising fictitious authority under the law that they do not in fact have under the existing state and federal constitutions. And they are intentionally posing as such while they are targeting and psychologically harming an American citizen whom they are deliberately and knowingly and intentionally and obsessively stalking as a department, as a city, a municipality, as an entity. That's why I've also captured the pattern of conduct from city to city, even outside of Ontario. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct as I'm comparing it between LAPD and the Ontario PD. That is speaking to what the state of California is doing in concert with the people of the state. Alvarado Gardens, the people of the state, gang stalking in concert with the entity coming onto the grounds, surrounding on the grounds. Woodside City Apartments, gang stalking with the people of the state on the grounds, remaining at the grounds, and the people that come onto the grounds and surround, okay, acting together. The entity is doing so on this same day in 2024. Excuse me, at 11:17, like you just saw, but I just want you to see it again. While at again approximately 11:11, the video ends at 11:14. I'm still on the March 6, 2022. You can see my boots are marching. I'm marching toward the defendant so that you can see the domestic enemy, that is the Ontario Police Department, that are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. They are maliciously targeting me and engaging in psychological torture. They're conspicuously stalking me, and they're doing so by wearing a mask. And what is the mask? The mask is the children that they are talking to, that they're smiling and taking pictures with. The mask is in the form of the people of the state who are presenting their kids, who are coming up and conversing with them and smiling and chatting, while all manner of demonic pacing is happening under a fake sun that is hovering over the top of my head as I'm capturing in this video. This is speaking to domestic terrorism and psychological torture that a police department is intentionally engaging in within a body of evidence. And that coexists with what I'm documenting on an ongoing basis as well. I'm documenting on a daily basis the Ontario Police Department following me everywhere while I am literally sleeping outside, and they're gang stalking me in helicopter day and night. That's what coexists. And then during the day under the fake sun, the short-sightedness of the entity that is gang stalking, and you are supposed to be ignorant and forgetful and short-sighted, okay? With regard to looking at them standing behind a stand, talking about crime prevention when they are literally facilitating an unprecedented crime with the American citizens who are gang stalking other American citizens in this country. This is the hypocrisy that I'm capturing in this video.
11, I want to show you the fake sun that's right over me while I'm walking. This is nothing other than relevant positioning by the demon-possessed. And while I'm in the parking lot, the demon-possessed are driving by and directed light is touching all over my person. Guess what these demons are doing? Pushing strollers, sitting around drinking shakes, all right, sitting at a crime prevention display under the fake sun. Let me be clear, 11:11 a.m. Let me remind you where I'm at. So let me tell you what the people of the state, these are demons, and these are demons. Let me tell you what they're doing. First of all, the actual sun is not over the Upland Public Library roof. That's very exclusive sky space.
And I'm referencing the Upland Public Library because this is where I was at on March 5th, 2022. Pay attention to the body of evidence I'm collecting on a daily basis regarding identifying the specific environment. Distinct from being over the roof of the Upland Public Library, what is so spectacular about that is because the Upland Public Library is very distinct. They have windows in the roof. So you can see the sun right over the top of my head while I'm inside of that building, which is address 450 North Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. That is not in Ontario, California. It's not over Woodside Senior Apartments in Ontario, California. It's not over next to going to maintain the same visible appearance, creating any sunlight inside of Tracy Banks's apartment at the same time. It's not over me at Alvarado Gardens on the same day and at the same time in Los Angeles, California. It's not going to be over me in the adjacent city of Ontario at the Ontario Town Square, maintaining the same exact angle like I'm documenting. This is the impunity of the domestic enemy that has the audacity to gang stalk me day and night, psychologically torture me day and night in helicopters that they know I am documenting, and then they engage in what is stalking me right in my face, conspicuous stalking, while they are also engaged in a pattern of kidnapping. And these psychopaths, these sex offenders, these predators, they laugh while I document and I tell them to their face that they're going to prison. This is the domestic enemy of the Ontario Police Department.
In other words, I'm inside of the venue at 450 North Euclid Avenue. The fake sun is directly over my head, just like you see it here. That is not the same, and it is not coexisting. First of all, this has been hours over the Ontario Town Square, 7:49 a.m. I'm showing you. While Delta Airlines, Frontier Airlines, United Airlines are a means of amplified audible activity, while demons engaging in criminal conduct with those under the age of majority, while they're presenting what is crime prevention.
I need you to see them. They're going to prison. Okay, they're going to prison. This is the entity that is gang stalking just like they continuously do by helicopter here at Woodside Senior Apartments. This is speaking to the impunity of this corrupt and this bankrupt department that is a waste of money in the city of Ontario and in the state of California. Millions and millions of dollars on criminal surveillance. And there is nothing that is legitimate about them monitoring my genitalia? Absolutely nothing. They're predators and they're sex offenders. They're demon-possessed stalkers. And they are hiding behind, they're not interested in crime prevention. They're engaged in criminal activity and facilitating it. And they put up a little stand in order to gang stalk me right in front of my face. Because Satan thinks that it's funny, because Satan thinks that he's getting away with it until Satan is dragged into federal court. That's the reality. And that's the mental illness of the demon-possessed gang stalking entity, the Ontario Police Department. And they're acting with the population who's pacing all around me. They are all aware of this ongoing conspicuous act of stalking me right in my face, thinking that they're going to drive the ordinary target individual crazy, that you're going to ruminate about and engage in suicidal ideation, that they're going to capture you and be able to frame you for harming someone else and kidnap you, manufacture criminal charges, or manufacture a mental illness while they engage in psychological torture by stalking you right in your face, and doing it in such demonic and i.e. malicious ways, such as under the fake sun, where you are looking at what defies nature. And that is directly and also speaking to what is the context regarding what a population is doing, also intentionally and knowingly, not coincidentally. You don't have the LAPD and the Ontario Police Department engaging in what is a pattern and what is also that remarkable environment that defies nature ignorantly or coincidentally even. This is why the Ontario Police is being disbanded. And these demons are going to prison. I don't care where they're at. I don't care if they went to a different law enforcement agency. I don't care if they moved out the state. They're going to prison and justice requires it. They were acting in furtherance of murdering me in 2022. And that crime does not have a statute of limitations. I am not the only person that they have targeted as a department. And the impunity of Ontario Police still gang stalking to date. I'm still documenting them gang stalking by helicopter. They're still being sex offenders. They're still engaged in what is unprecedented basis of harassment and terrorism. They're being disbanded because they engaged in kidnapping, and what you shall never do. If you don't even understand that you shouldn't be keeping American citizens under surveillance in violation of their constitutional human rights, they went to the extent of kidnapping me on several occasions. This is what Jason Knight was doing, gang stalking. He's a demon. Gang stalking and engaging in what is using police uniforms and badges and bearing weapons and exercising authority under the law that they don't have under the state and federal constitutions, that they are enabled to engage in with the people of the state, with the corrupt courts throughout San Bernardino County, which is a statewide system. All right, that they're engaged in what is kidnapping and murdering American citizens with hitmen like Tracy Banks. All right. This is what the entity is doing under a fake sun. And this is what you're remembering is happening over the top of my head in Los Angeles, California at the same time. That's speaking to the P.O.C. That's the P.O.C.
They're in directed light. They're under the fake sun. The direct evidence of that impossible, that scientific impossibility, while these sex offenders who like to monitor while my panties are down are then in plain sight under the fake sun, the direct evidence. You're talking about what is federal prison, all right? Engaging in what is posing using children, that's not making them look any compassionate whatsoever. They are engaging in a demonic targeting system. The fake sun has remained over the Ontario Town Square. This is the same Ontario Town Square where it's present at 5:12 p.m. This is the Ontario Town Square that is not visible of being seen if this was the sun, while I'm inside of the Upland Public Library at 11:11 a.m. And I documented that while I am speaking to...
I'm referencing the Ovid Family Community Library because it's at the same property. Ontario Town Square, the Ovid Family Community Library, the Ontario City Hall, where this demon-possessed domestic terrorist leader Paul Leon's office is, okay? They're all gang stalking. They're all state facilitating venues, and they're feet away from each other. That's why I'm referencing the very heavily documented state facilitating venue, Ontario Ovid Family Community Library. That's why I'm referencing that.
While I'm inside of the Upland Public Library and I'm standing in the middle on the first floor and the fake sun is right above my head. And that is speaking to what is the posture that the demon-possessed maintain. I'm being molested with directed light on the streets. This is the demon-possessed Officer Hernandez and Sabrina monitoring with the people of the state. They're calling it farmer's market. You can call it whatever you want. It does not matter. You're talking about what is the pattern of conduct ceaselessly underway. And this is speaking to that ongoing POC. It's 11:13 a.m. It is, again, Sunday. March 6, 2022. I went from the museum right here to the Ontario Town Square, 7:49 a.m.
I just want you to pay attention to something really quickly. You can look at what is the shadow of this theater right here. The fake sun is directly over the top of my head. It's in its zenith. Okay. Now you've seen this video seeing where the entity has the fake sun. I just referenced the time 11:13 a.m. This is the time that the entity has the fake sun over me today. In 2025 in the city of Ontario, where I am reminding you about what is what's over the top of my head at at Woodside Senior Apartments is not remaining over the Ontario Town Square, creating that shadow activity where you can tell the shadow is speaking to the direct immediacy of where that position, meaning the shadow of the theater at the Ontario Town Square is not such that the shadow is veering to the left or to the right, or rather to the east or west. It's right over the top, right over the zenith, where you can clearly see it on video, and where the entity has the fake sun over Woodside Senior Apartments, that would create a different shadow of that theater. I am providing what is a way in which you are able to pay attention to the environment. There is no evidence speaking to what is the ongoing ubiquitous presence of the sun and its zenith everywhere in the city of Ontario. And in addition to that, you have what is the evidence of the entity keeping the fake sun over Woodside Senior Apartments from sunrise until sunset. So even where the fake sun is rising at Woodside Senior Apartments, at no point is the sun going to be back over the Ontario Town Square at 11 o'clock in the morning. That is not moving in the direction west like the entity is doing, while its entity is consumed with rising on the east side of buildings, units 33 through 48, and setting on the west side of apartment buildings 33 through 48, which is not the sun. With that entity, though, you're going to use its same false logic with regard to what is keeping the fake sun on the east side of the building of 33 through 48, and at 11, based on what I documented before I relocated in 2025 is where we're at. And the entity is engaging in the same pattern of keeping the fake sun from rise until set. You just saw the fake sun on February 28th rising over Woodside Senior Apartments. Okay, February 28th is relevant to time of year analysis, so it is the exact same thing. February 28th is the same thing as what's going to happen with regard to the sun on March 6, 2025, and on March 6, 2024, and on March 6, 2023, and 2022 with regard to the natural environment, the time of year, and the time of day. There is no flipping this and making it natural. I am showing you, and I am stripping these demons of the mask and the malice whereby they're hiding in plain sight. These are psychopaths. And I am not being hyperbolic now that you can more clearly see when you remove what is the environment that they are engaging in, what is all manner of the environment is key to what is their movement all around and their presence all around me. Remember, it's not sunlight. So this engineered light, this fake sun, is the form whereby you're looking at this light that's covering everything. But you also know that the fake sun is distinct from the engineered light that's all around. It has nothing to do with the engineered light. That's why I show you things such as light appearing on the ceiling inside of the apartment. That's not sunlight. That's the same thing that's covering all of the property. It's a fake sun that's remaining over me while engineered light covers everything, and they're stalking in the path. That's actually what's happening. And police departments that are engaged in gang stalking an American citizen, that's what LAPD has done. And I surrounded them with the evidence. Speaking to direct proof of it is the fake sun that remained over Alvarado Gardens while they were engaged in what is terrorism and psychological torture, wasting millions of dollars on using helicopters. And then you're going to be reminded of the fact that they can't adequately put out fires throughout LA County. This is what they were obsessed with doing. They were gang stalking me, using their manpower, their fire departments, while keeping me under surveillance. This is what they're using their fire trucks for. This is what they're using. They're spending man hours on, using helicopters and the demon-possessed Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, the Los Angeles Police Department, obsessively consumed with stalking me. And you know all of that. You know that I'm not exaggerating, because the demons go to the extent of keeping a whole fake environment around me so that you don't know that it's a whole bunch of fake light, engineered light all around, while all they're doing is pacing all around like cockroaches, monitoring and stalking me. That's the reality when you are understanding what is the significance, what's the purpose, what's the why behind the whole fake environment in the first place. That's why. That's the reasoning behind it. And your ability, whether you can understand that rationale or not, it is under no circumstances naturally occurring. It's impossible. Impossible. And while the entity is keeping this fake sun over Woodside Senior Apartments on this day in 2025 at 11 a.m., 11:13 is when I'm capturing, this is not over the Ontario Town Square. And it's also not over me at my front door, like I documented on March 8, 2024, at the same time at 11:17 a.m. Okay? This is the P.O.C. where you're recognizing gang stalking by a police department such as the Ontario Police Department, who are subject to disbanding for that. And that's the malice that needs to be known. So that's the significance of that. I want to be clear regarding the entity that is gang stalking, as I documented, while the entity is keeping the fake sun over me, like I documented on what is February 25th, I believe, at 9:49 a.m. with regard to same time of day as because this is the video evidence that I'm referencing regarding the Ontario Police gang stalking on March 6, 2022. So let's go back to what's going on in 2025. It's the same pattern of conduct. Where am I at the same time? I happen to be in Ontario, but I'm at not Ontario Town Square, where the sun is not going to be over the apartment buildings. It's certainly not the explanation for this light that's appearing in the depths of Tracy Banks's apartment. Let's look at the distance where I am away from the front door. Let's look at this distance right here. Okay, that has nothing to do with sunlight. First of all, we can break this scene down. This is not sunlight that's going to appear on the inside of a building. And not only is it appearing, it's stretching into the depths of that building. And then you have what is a whole distinct method of light that's just appearing above my head. That's not sunlight. This is stalking with light documentation. And it's also not the sun, as I'm documenting same time of day regarding what was happening on March 6, 2022 at what is 9:40. This is same time of year, same day, same time of year, same time analysis. But not only that, the entity is keeping the fake sun as I documented. The entity is at 9:49 a.m. So I just want to show you how the fake sun remains here at Woodside Senior Apartments, like I'm capturing here. Let me just fast forward so you can see it again.
And the placement of the light source is no explanation for what is engineered light piercing through a peephole.
Right? That's not sunlight. It's coming through a peephole. This is the entity that has a fake sun. As you see it today, covered up in clouds. You already know that the fake sun is here before 11 o'clock and it remains here after 11 o'clock. And I have the evidence to show you that as well. What I documented on this day.
Federal prison, they can move away.
All right. This is the entity that has the fake sun over me at 9:49 in the morning, and it remained here as I documented on the same date. So I want you to see the date.
Alrighty, it is
9:49 on January 31st, 2025, relevant to time of year analysis of the specific environment. And on the same day, you have the same gang stalkers who are acting with an intent to threaten and terrorize like they routinely do, while I document the pattern of conduct. While I get evidence that's very, very damning, the police tend to surface. That's meaning in a manner where they can be perceived, where you can witness them. In other words, to communicate a threat while they're already gang stalking with the population in furtherance of murdering and kidnapping you. That's what's relevant to the remaining presence of the fake sun over my head in Los Angeles at my front door.
Sitting at Ramona and Hope Boulevard.
All right.
This is in all manner revealing what is a state system. It's a pattern of conduct. Metro Nissan of Montclair's group stalking.
All right. This is relevant to 2024, but I want to while I'm going to show you what the Ontario Police Department is doing, but I want you to first see what is. Yes, March 5th. The P.O.C. as I'm documenting, the entity keeping that light source over me while I am remaining at the same apartment at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I captured video at 9:49 in the morning, and it's still remaining over the same apartment building. So today, on March 6, 2025, will you see the fake sun at 11 a.m., no rain and no cloudy day changes what is already documented as of record. You already know that the fake sun stays here over one apartment building, which defies nature. And it's also juxtaposed with the same pattern of conduct under a fake idle sun, while the LAPD was gang stalking me as well in conformity to a statewide pattern of conduct.
This is the people of the state gang stalking with Ontario Police, crossing path under the fake sun, and this is the fake sun that's over the same apartment building. It is currently, again, like I said, 1:24 a.m. I captured the fake sun this morning at 9:49 in the morning. 10, 11, 12, 4 hours later, this is gang stalking by the people of the state. These are the elderly people who are going to prison. It is gang stalking by the Ontario Police in helicopter and gang stalking by the Ontario Police in a vehicle. That's vehicle number 1022 in concert with the Ontario International Airport. This is the same pattern of conduct that was underway when the entity engaged in kidnapping via.
It's not a coincidence while the Ontario International Airport always taking off at a lower elevation, amplified in volume, where there is no Terminal 2 or Terminal 4. Those are the only terminals that they have, where they are hovering, because you're hovering to see them at that elevation. It's much lower than it would be taking off from Terminal 2, Terminal 4, and they would not be flying at this location, 408 West G Street in Ontario, hovering over the Woodside Senior Apartments. It's also speaking to what is clearly stalking because of the identification of the specific environment. They're doing so under while the fake sun hovers over me, which is exactly what they were doing, by the way, while the idle fake sun at 11 o'clock in the morning on video today in 2025 over Woodside Senior Apartments. Okay. The entity is engaging in this while the entity is keeping the fake son in 2022 in the presence of the gang stalkers, the Ontario Police Department at the Ontario Town Square. But I want you to hear the rest of this.
10, 11, 12, 4 hours later, this is gang stalking by the people of the state. This is the elderly people who are going to prison. It is gang stalking by the Ontario Police in helicopter and gang stalking by the Ontario Police in a vehicle. That's vehicle number 1022 in concert with the Ontario the Ontario International Airport. This is the same pattern of conduct that was underway when the entity engaged in kidnapping via Jason Knighton, while the Ontario International Airport were hovering in relevant position and engineered light with simultaneity to the operator of my communication device. And this is the Ontario Police engaging in a sex offense, and it is not helpful to the people or Linda Reyes, who is going to federal prison, and so are the people of the state who've been engaged with hours of psychological torture on behalf of this government that's parked on the property grounds. This is engineered light right here that I'm walking in. This is for monitoring. That's a sex offense. That's engineered light in the depths of a patio that's covered under the fake sun that's still over the same apartment building. That's license 1591669, vehicle 1022. The people of the state are gang stalking with the people. The people are fearful and they engage in this sort of criminal conduct, which is a threat, while you are documenting the pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. I am referencing their cameras. This is monitoring. This officer's going to prison. They're going to prison.
Understand the purpose of seeing even the logo of the police department. These are psychopaths that they want you to communicate a threat, and that's all that's required, by the way. Seeing the police vehicle is the communication of threat. Who's operating the vehicle? Okay, Linda Reyes, the manager, is not driving the Ontario police vehicle. The entity is communicating a threat while abandoning the vehicle, putting it in a position where I am able to see it. I am the focus of what's going on. You know this because of the fake sun, because of the engineered light. The entity is monitoring evidence, whether they are there taking an elderly person's body to the hospital, whether they're there calling themselves investigating a robbery, but the old people are robbing each other. They can claim whatever they want. It's an admission to what is federal group stalking and monitoring by the heavily documented Ontario Police Department, who, by the way, I've already shown. I'm just giving to what are all the things that the entity that's maliciously gang stalking an American citizen are simultaneously claiming. Oh, we were doing this and we were doing that, because the entity that's gang stalking through the police are always engaging in, on the surface, what must appear to be something within the execution of their duty as officers, because it is unbecoming of police officers to be known as stalkers and to be known as sex offenders and to be known also as demon possessed. So it must always appear under the guise of having something to do with the execution of their duties. Always. And that's how it's going to look. Now, I have caught them very often outside of that malicious form where there is, by the way, what am I describing? There is no excuse for engaging in the elements of monitoring, and gang stalking police are going to prison. Period. I want to point that out. So the demon operates the vehicle, parks it in relevant position, and reasonably and actually is communicating a threat. So abandoning the vehicle, that was the purpose. The demon or demons did that on purpose, and you are going to prison. The entity is going to produce its identity. Just like the demon stalking a helicopter, their identities are not remaining a mystery at all. They're going to prison. Okay, the entity is doing so to communicate a threat, however. Remember, this is the day that I'm documenting Linda Reyes, and I'm specifically identifying this sex offender, this gang stalking community manager who works under a fake son, keeping a woman under surveillance, and she's going to prison for it. All right, so this is where an entity is engaging in this POC, and that's what I'm referencing.
It is the people of the state that are gang stalking, the presence of the state that's also stalking, where the entity's keeping a fake son, doing so while you're documenting it is an unlawful threat to your safety, and they're monitoring in a private space. An engineered light, that's my shadow upright. This is engineered light that's on the ceiling if you see the images, and this is the same apartment building where it was over at 9 o'clock in the morning. All right, this is POC. It's currently 1:26 p.m. That's the state gang stalking with the people of the state. All right, and
all right, this is the entity that's stalking under a fake son. You literally have what is the entity, even 11 o'clock this morning, and January 31st, I have it over the same building at 1:30 in the afternoon. The entity 1:30 is when the video ends. This is the entity that is gang stalking with what the police department that is gang stalking is engaging in is what the entire population is doing. The population are doing it with the aid of that population, and the population is doing it with regard to knowledge and sharing engagement in criminal monitoring, including on devices. All right. So this is relevant to what I'm documenting on this day in 2024. And as I referenced Ontario police in Ontario, and as I reference evidence of gang stalking by the Ontario Police Department in 2022 on March 6th, that's when the fake son that's showing at 9:47 in the morning, like I documented here, is disappearing as I then go to what is
people of the state.
as then I go upstairs to my apartment, and an hour later it's a cloudy day. This is not the natural environment, okay? This is speaking to malice by the entity that is gang stalking. Malice of the entity that is gang stalking, while the fake sun is already documented rising and setting at Alvarado Gardens. And while I'm referencing the entity that's keeping the fake sun over my front door, like you are aware is the case, again, on March 8th, 2000, so just 2 days from now, on March 6, 2028, I'm showing you the fake sun over the same exact front door where LAPD is flying by gang stalking a helicopter while the fake sun is covered up. It's the same P.O.C. And just to be clear, I've captured that same front door outside of my apartment with the fake sun over my head. And I want to remind you, because on March 6, 2022, the entity is keeping the fake sun over me at 11 o'clock in the morning. And that's, again, what we are looking at here. The entity is maintaining this light source in Ontario and over my front door while I'm in the presence of the gang stalkers who are the Ontario Police Department. And so this is what I want you to recognize that you're looking at. This is not over my front door and what is Los Angeles, California. Okay, that's speaking to the pattern of conduct where you are aware of the P.O.C. And so let me let you see that again. That which is over my front door is not over me at the Ontario Town Square. March 8th and March 6th is time of year analysis, where, in other words, what's happening on March 6, 2022 is it's again substantially similar to what's happening on March 6, 2023 and 2024 and 2025 at 11 o'clock, 11:13 in 2024. The fake sun is over the top of my head while where it remains for the duration of the day. That's not substantially similar to at any point in the day at 11:13 being over Ontario Town Square. That's not substantially similar. And it's mutually exclusive. We're already out of the bounds of talking about the natural environment when the evidence shows the sun sets and rises and sets at this apartment, literally at this apartment unit where I'm at. Okay, we're not in what is the universe where the natural environment exists. And it is not substantially similar, but you're going to analyze, you can recognize it while you're comparing it to what we know about how the natural environment operates. And time of year, well, if that's the same time of year, if that's the sun, in other words, what's over me at my front door in Los Angeles is not over me at the Ontario Town Square at the same time of year in 2022. All right. And so that's what's relevant to what's going on outside of my front door in Los Angeles. And what is
you have what is
happening over the top of my head while in the presence of what are gang stalkers. That is the Ontario Police Department. Okay. That is the P.O.C. And it is again currently Thursday, March 6, 2025, where you are mindful of this environment where the entity is maintaining this system of surveillance at Woodside Senior Apartments and doing so while monitoring evidence. Okay, this is in concert with the entity that both resides in the unit and surrounds the unit, and while that pattern of conduct remains ceaselessly underway with impunity and malice. All right, it is currently again Thursday, March 6, 2025, and this is P.O.C.